Hello, shining ones. Megas here on a beautiful day in Asha. I am so excited about today's video. Real quick, in case you're brand new to this channel, you came across it. We're Zoroastrians. We are the Magi. And oh my God, today we're in Asha 12 and 13, and it talks about living in heaven on earth, the way it was meant to be. You know, what else could come from a perfect creator's perfect mind, but a perfect thought about how his world should be? And Zoroastrianism is the only religion I found, I've studied them all, that tells us how to attune to that right frequency where we step in to that place. And it's only that much. If you could grasp the last paragraph of Asha 12 and Asha 13 there, you have it all figured out, enough to live in Asha. Can I share a quick story with you? I'll make it quick. In my book, Steel Pools of the Mind, I talk about a time I was out in the woods, and it was the perfect day. My friend, a moose, a big, huge moose, stepped out of the bushes. I was in awe, my friends, and just the smell of the pine, and there's like this mist and fog over the trees, and I felt like I was living in like a movie, like The Hobbit or something. And oh my God, I was mesmerized by the beauty of this life, and what I was seeing with my eyes and smelling with my nose, and hearing and sensing, and it was so beautiful. Now, I was with a friend of mine. He is having a completely different experience, and he always did. We called him Eeyore. He was always depressed, and we're in the same place. And then he starts talking about that poor moose. I bet he's just covered with ticks, where he just chews at himself all night and can't sleep. And this is him talking to me, and I'm thinking, he looks happy to me. I don't notice any noticeable ticks or suffering. Then he starts talking about the mist and fog that I thought was so beautiful in the trees. He starts talking about, there's a disease called SAD. I'm laughing as I say SAD. This guy, I love him, but this is how he is. He's our Eeyore, and he just saw the world like he talks about you're not getting enough vitamin D. And I'm thinking, I don't feel like I have a vitamin D deficiency. I feel great. I'm not sad. And so we're two different minds in the same place, on the same earth, but having completely different experience. And I saw it in his life, my friends. When you're out of tune with the universe like that, everything went wrong for him, where I felt like everything was always going right for me. Things just always working out for me. I felt so blessed. He's the kind, we'd be walking through the garden, he'd step on the rake and it'd come up and slam him in the face, and I just, oh my God, this poor guy. But what it is, he's just not attuned with the universe. He's out of step. He's out of tune. He's in that negative force. When you get out of what we call Asha, the Spirit of God, that goodness, that love, right? He didn't have love for people. Everyone was an enemy. Everyone was a psychopath. Everyone was evil. Right. And so we'd go out, like simple things, like we'd go to the store, and I'd smile, and people would smile back to me, and I'm, hey, looking good, and it was a nice interaction with him. He's looking at them like they're going to mug him in the parking lot. And so then they're looking back at him like, what the hell's wrong with you? And we're having two different experiences. We were having, like completely different lives, but in the same place. And this is what I want you to see. We have to restore that original frequency. Zoroaster is always talking about attuning yourself to that right frequency. Do you know what Zoroaster, his name, do you know what it means? It means pure starlight. And this is so important. It's undefiled, it's undiluted, and it's unmixed, pure light. Here's what happened. My friend, he was a very strong Christian. Oh, okay, and I'm not, I love Jesus. I'm a Christ follower. I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I love Jesus. I think of Jesus as Vohu Menu, that Christ mind, where we align ourselves and attune ourselves with a loving Father. Quite different than what the religious leaders of Jesus' time thought of God, right? Stone the woman caught in adultery. Jesus said no. James and John said, call down fire from heaven like Elias did on this town that rejected our message. Jesus said, no, you don't know what spirit you're of. He was trying to show them, if you've seen me, you've seen the loving Father. You got the wrong idea of God. It's not an eye for an eye. It's love everyone. Don't have an enemy. If someone takes your coat, give them your shirt, because you know God will take care of you. God will provide if you'll stay in these high frequencies. If we'll stay in love and peace and joy and be one with that Father. That was the message of all the masters. Be one with that highest principle of good. We got to restore first that highest principle of good. That idea, that energy, that spirit. My friends, because it's been changed with the religions that came after Zoroastrianism. They made it so God gets jealous, gets angry. He can hate. He can war, kill men, women, and children. Send sickness and disease. Things that we know aren't the highest principle of good. You will never rise above your highest belief. If your idea of God, the highest good, is mixed, not Zoroaster, not pure, but it's mixed. It's good sometimes, bad sometimes, peace sometimes, war sometimes, send healing sometimes, send disease sometimes. You'll never rise above that highest belief. My friends, you got to go through that to the highest, to the truth, to the pure spirit. And it's different than what the world religions teach. Right now we're planting a seed. It says the light of dawn comes before the light of the sun. Right now there's a little dawning coming on. Many of you thinking, wow, God, that makes sense, is the highest principle of good. Something's shifting in you. Yeah, God, the highest good, can't hate, can't get angry. Those stories I've heard when I was a child and I heard those, I knew in my heart of hearts it wasn't right. That's that divine spark inside of you, that guide that knows that book of truth that is in you, that always guiding and leading. Listen to what Patanjali says. Right knowledge dispels its opposite. The absence of right knowledge is an actual type of perception. It's a mindset. It's a belief. It's a faith. And it's a creative perception that's opposite of truth. And it makes a real form and matter, a real world, just like my friend had. He had an idea of a God that, like I said, get angry, jealous, hate, war, kill, right? Enemies, destroy them. Even wipe out their children and their animals and take the spoils. And you can have sex slaves. And he had that mindset of that highest principle. And it made his whole world, his whole earth, not look very good. Only as good as his God was, because he had a wrong belief. We talk about that. Carl Jung said, you want to know your future? You want to know what your life's going to look like? Know your subconscious beliefs. What do you truly believe? And if it's wrong knowledge, that's what's going to be. The very last paragraph of Asha 12. Are you guys enjoying this? Let me know if you are. Hit that like button. Go to the comments. Tell me, Megas, we're still here with you at 9 minutes. I love you guys. Thank you. Last paragraph of Asha 12 says, and I realize there is no separation from my good, my God. We are one. All the truth and happiness I've been looking for is here now, because I am that. Now that I know this, it is. Asha is. My friends, you are it. You are one with that highest principle of God good. You come from that spirit. You're made of that spirit. You are that spirit. And when you take that right idea, that true knowledge of that spirit, that information, that energy, that God, It comes into you and you be it. You be a pure love that's unmixed. It's not love and hate. You be the peace in the world. You be that smiling face when you're out in public, and the world reflects it back to you. You'll notice rakes don't come up and whack you in the face in the garden anymore. All of a sudden, the world starts to look a little more beautiful. When you be one with that highest principle of God good, you be the love, you be the peace, you be the joy. You got to be it, my friends, and you will see it. A true thought, you'll see the true world. A real thought, you'll see the real world. What thoughts, beliefs are you holding in your heart? Asha 13 is my all-time favorite, and I'll leave you guys with this. The original word. This is the perfect creator's perfect idea that we call Asha, is that all good comes from the creator and no evil comes from him. And from this word, this original word, your spiritual world is made straight and your material world comes into order. Now get this, the original word of false religion is that evil comes from the creator. And in this false idea is all the evil creatures suffer. My wonderful friend today, if you will restore God's image back to perfect perfection, to pure, unmixed, undefiled, just pure love without the hate. He's the peace without the war. He's kind. He's a good parent. If you'll restore him to that rightful place, you'll restore yourself. As you take that spirit, that idea, that thought, that information, that energy into it, and it becomes you. My friends, you won't be blocked. If you feel like you haven't been able to move up and move ahead, it's because your highest idea, right? Your highest idea that we call God, it's not that good, right? It's mixed. And that's what your world will always look like. So now as we raise that idea of God good back to its rightful place, you rise with it. And at the same time, the world will begin to look different to you as you're planting these new energetic seeds of truth. You'll start to see the true world, the real world. I love you guys so much. You know, one of my desires, obviously, is to share this message of Zoroaster with the world. And the other thing is I want you to always remember my voice. Whenever you need it, hearing me say to you, and this goes for me, and this is from the Magi that were, are, and forever shall be, I love, love, love you.